I saw one of the greatest quality assurance and performance improvement outcomes that I've seen in a while, and I wanted to share. It was at a Lowe's home improvement store, and it's just absolutely brilliant. But let me preface this by saying that I am the type of person that never really thinks about grabbing a shopping cart on the way into whether it's a grocery store or a box store like Lowe's or whatever. If I'm only getting a handful of things, I'm more likely to be that person that just, has an armful of stuff than someone who has a cart with only a couple of things. So that's my preface in this, just to let you know that that's kind of my MO. And so I go to Lowe's. And of course, I only need two things. I need a gallon of paint because I'm painting my foyer, and I need some painter's tape. So that's two things. I'm not going to grab a cart for two things, right? So I go in, they're mixing the paint for me. I go find the tape. The paint's ready. And so now I have a gallon of paint and I have a roll of painter's tape. And that's when it dawns on me. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I did want to look at light fixtures because I was thinking about maybe replacing the light fixture in my foyer. And so now I walk over to the light fixture aisle, and sure enough, I find one that is my style. I really like. It's not very expensive. And so now I have a gallon of paint. I have a roll of tape under my arm, and now a big box, this lamp fixture under my arm. And that's when it dawns on me. I was like, oh, you know what? I do have a sink that is starting to leak, and I need to go to the kitchen faucet area, which is, of course, on the other end of Lowe's department store. And as I'm walking towards there, I see that they have these little needle nose pliers. And I don't know what happened to mine. I lost my needle nose pliers. I couldn't find them. But, they just had like a little grab and go. I'm like, oh, let me grab the needle nose pliers. So now I've got a gallon of paint, a roll of tape, a big box of lamp underneath my arm, and now I'm pinching my fingers with this little needle nose pliers. And of course, it always happens to me. I go in for one thing and end up getting 18. I don't know if that happens to you. But the Lowe's is split up into two. So there's a bunch of rows, and then there's like a big gap where they have a lot of services and stuff, and then another row of items. And I'm going through that to go to the kitchen and bath area. And there I see it, this row of grocery carts. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did somebody read my mind? Has somebody been following me around and knows that I was going to end up in this position with an armful of goods and could really use a grocery cart? And so, of course, I grab a grocery cart, I throw my stuff in. And I see one of the workers, and I say, I'm like, I have to know how is this? How are these grocery carts? Like, there's a sign, and he's like, Lowe's reached out about a month or two ago, corporate, and said that they have a new initiative where they want to have grocery carts available in the center of the store for, presumably people like me, of course, right? And he's like, it's been working great. He said that we're constantly having to add grocery carts here because so many people are grabbing them. And I was like, let me ask you this. And he didn't have the answer, but I was like, I wonder if it has increased sales at all. Have you seen an increase in sales? And the reason I ask is because when I was in college way back, there was a guy who owned a grocery store who came in and talked to our class. And he was talking to us about the idea of customer evaluations, getting customers in to ask them questions about what do they like, what do they dislike, what are they finding, and really getting some great valuable information from your own customers. I started doing this, long time ago. I got exposed to this whole, concept of customer input on your services a long time ago. By the way, my name is Ralph Peterson, and I'm a quality assurance and performance improvement consultant, and I work in senior care. Okay, so that's why this is also exciting to me, because I just love this kind of stuff. Anyway, this guy who owned the grocery store said that this was way back in the 90s. And he said that one of the big customer complaints was about his strawberries. And at the time, the strawberries came in these cardboard containers that you couldn't see. It was like a green cardboard container. You couldn't see the bottom of it. And so a lot of people would buy strawberries. They'd get home and they'd start taking the strawberries out of the container. And 2 or 3 of the strawberries on the bottom would be rotten. And it would drive them crazy. And he was like, well, what? So he's asking his customers, he's like, what what do you think would be the solution? This is before the clear plastic containers, which you now can go and you can see 360. This is before that. You couldn't do that at the time. And so he said a lot of the people that he talked to about the strawberries said that they would be very happy to, if you put strawberries in a big bin by themselves and let the patron just absolutely pick strawberries that they want and fill their own little cardboard container, that would make them more happy. That way they could select their own strawberries. And he said, you know what? I was going to give it a try. That's the whole point of doing this, is to ask customer feedback. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it works, great. So he puts out a bin of strawberries. He adds a bunch of those cardboard containers. And he said, this is the amazing thing he did not expect. He expected that the customers would no longer complain about strawberries, and that absolutely happened. They all ended their complaint. They all thought, I'm picking my own strawberries. But this is what he didn't count on. He didn't count on strawberry sales increasing by 300%. He said it turns out when you give the customer the ability to pick their own strawberries, they went, oh, I want this one, I want this one, oh, this one looks great. Oh, this. He's like, they're buying 2, 3, 4 packages of strawberries, where before they would only buy 1 packet. Like that, oh, it just makes my heart sing. What a fantastic move on Lowe's part. I really am curious if it does increase sales. Whether it does or not, if your quality assurance and performance improvement program is not taking into account the customer experience. I mean, oh my gosh, I wish I knew somebody in Lowe's so I could go, how did you come up with this? What were the feedback forms that you were looking at? Like, it is so, what a simple fix that is based on 100% knowing your customer. I love it. Lowe's is absolutely doing it right. Bravo. Bravo.